Hi, and welcome to Chapter 5 Listening and Responding. Here's where we're going. How much of your time is invested in listening? What is listening? Is listening a problem? What are the barriers to effective listening? How should one listen effectively? How should one respond effectively? We're on our fourth communication principle listen and respond thoughtfully to others. How much of your time is invested in listening? Research shows that about 45% of our time is spent listening. Reading and writing takes 9 to 16%, whereas speaking 30%. It's amazing that we only have one day in one course dedicated to listening when we spend most of our lives listening, regardless of profession. What is listening? Listening is different from hearing. Hearing is the physiological process of decoding sounds. It's physiological. Listening is a complex process of receiving, constructing meaning from, and responding to verbal and nonverbal messages. This involves selecting, attending, understanding, remembering, and responding. Listening is a complex process of receiving, constructing meaning from, and responding to verbal and nonverbal messages. What is listening? Listening is a 5-step process. SAURR. I've left these blank to encourage you to come up with your own acronym. It turns out the most useful mnemonic devices are those that you come up with yourself, that you can assign personal meaning to. Listening is a 5-step process. It involves selecting, attending, understanding, remembering, and responding. Selecting, we focus on one sound as we sort through various sounds competing for our attention. In the attending step, we focus on a particular message. In the understanding step, we assign meaning to that message. In the remembering step, we recall information. In the responding step, we confirm our understanding. Preview. There are 4 styles of listening. Which one are you? Are you people-oriented, action-oriented, content-oriented, or time-oriented? People-oriented listeners prefer to attend to feelings and emotions and search for common areas of interest. If you're tailoring a message towards a people-oriented listener, you want to focus on creating feelings and emotion. And you also want to focus on common areas of interest to stress. Action-oriented listeners prefer to focus on information that is organized and accurate. They want the speaker to get to the point and emphasize what action should be taken. If you're organizing for an action-oriented listener, you want to focus on just the nuts and bolts of your message. You want to emphasize the next steps, the to-do list that is coming out of that presentation. Content-oriented listeners prefer to hear complex, detailed information and expect facts and evidence to support key points and key ideas. If you're tailoring your message towards a content-oriented listener, make sure you focus on logic. Do your facts and evidence lend support to the key ideas? Do you have logic? Content-oriented listeners prefer details, and they prefer logically organized information. A time-oriented listener prefers brief messages that are presented efficiently without digressions or anecdotes or stories. They're busy listeners that do not want to spend a lot of time listening. Time-oriented listeners are get straight to the point, that's all I want kind of listeners. They don't want the stories behind the content. Is listening a problem? Researchers have identified listening problems to be a predictor of conflict in both our personal and professional relationships. Looked at from another frame, Most people remember only about 25% of what they heard 2 days or 48 hours after listening to a lecture or presentation. Think about the impact of conflict in our personal and professional relationships. And also think about the impact of not being able to remember more than 25% of what you heard 2 days after you heard it.